Peace, power, and ascension, black family. Let me set this phone up real quick. So what I'm going to be talking about in this video, which I'm going to be titling the video. Oh yeah, I want to let y'all know about what I'm doing with this. What's the magic of my hand signals too. But y'all call them mudras. I don't call them that, but because y'all understand it as such, that's what I call it. But the topic of this video is about it's a goddess that I spoke to last night, or last shadow, or the beginning of the day. What y'all call witching hours. Which I talked about in the video before, but I'll be making another one since I'm on this YouTube platform with it now. But what I want to discuss is quantum physics and the concept. Well, first it's about 013, the zero, because pretty much after I got off the phone with the goddess last night, I started doing my meditation and what I call my M&M work, my M&M, which is meditation and masturbation. Or meditative masturbation, and after going through that and then really relaxing in the pleasure of the moment and the peace of the moment and the joy of it, of the release and all that type of shit. What I gathered, what was transmitted to me was, the 013, and actually I felt it during the conversation. And where we were speaking about transcending time codes and transcending light codes and energetic frequency and illusions of the illusions of light and things of that nature, dealing with light work, dark work, and stuff like that. So with the light code transmission, the numerological transmission that came to me through for the light codes out of my darkness was the 013. So. This is pretty much the title of this is 013, subtitled Quantum Physics versus Zero Physics. So what I'm want to do is explain the title so that I can get deeper into the things that I want to say. And 013 deals with the reality, the first, what I consider to be the first nature, the state of creative force of will, the first nature, creative power, as you may call it, or creative self-will, which is the all frequency, which y'all know as the Om, and you can it resonates as Om, or all, or you can write it out multiple ways: A-U. E-U, E-O-M, A-O-M, A-E-O-M, A-Y-M, or A-L-L, or whatever other English language sequences that they have with the alphabet tonations. So, and pretty much that frequency, that all frequency, numerologically would be represented as 013. And with that representation through the 013 numerological code, is because the concept of two, or there ever being dual energy frequency, is an illusion of quantum physics, and the quantum physics is based off of the concept of part itself, and this is really the concept of two, or the concept of what y'all may call the universal law of duality, is the quantum illusion, as I call it. And so, and the reason why I call it, and I'm going, and after I explain all of this and why I say this, then I get into what I mean by the zero physics. And this is all dealing with we'll transition into concepts that I call phonetomology. So with the quantum illusion, or quantum physics deception or manipulation, or whatever you may call it, two is as a universal law, as y'all say, is actually an illusion. And the reason why I say that is because duality itself is an illusion. There is no there when you really get it in this, and actually this concept that was constructed by masculine energy, or what we now know as patriarchal supremacists or masculine supremacists. Because the concept of two comes from what they say that all numbers mystically comes from the power, the concept of creation. Keep in mind that, you know, if you really study different cultures and shit like that, like ancient cultures and shit, how they was, or what you call ancient cultures, you will find out, or what you let me call I knew sentient cultures, but that Caucasoids originally had their concept of counting originally began with like 2, 3. They started at 2. You know what I mean? And then they learned through mysticism. They learned, because keep in mind, people counted. They didn't count according to, and this all deals with the matrix construct, or what you call the matrix construct. They didn't count originally based off of sequential linear concepts of counting. Everything was mystical. So originally Caucasoids numbers began with the number 2, ended with the number 7. And then what happened was, and these numbers actually, and at first it was like they started with 2 to 6 because they understood everything as having a dual concept, having 2, because they dealt with the duality, the dual reality of being and stuff like that. So everything to them, in their reality, their conceptual reality of their own I am, everything began with duality, or as a duality. I mean, this is the fundamental concept in the chaos theory is the concept of duality. Like out of chaos came order. But when you deal with what I'm going to be getting into, you'll understand that there is order in the chaos, and chaos is actually the concept that you call, the ideas that you call chaos, or the energy, or, you know, primordial substance or waters that you may call chaos, is the original order. And the manifestation of that original order is within the original order also, which I call first nature, or in the original vessel or temple or being that manifested eventually at what we now call humanity, as the first original black man or black being, is what I call the black one, or the first soul, or the first manifested soul, whatever you may call it, or first elucidated soul, out of that concept. But so let me get into it. Two as a well, first of all, let me finish that point I was making. Was the one was actually was something that you had to learn about. Like each number, you had to have a spiritual concept before you could actually use it, or before you actually gave it to society, because you didn't because everything was always seen as mystical and magical and holding some type of occult powers to it. So every number, every symbol that was drawn, every pictograph, or whatever you may call it, glyph, or now I may call it Medu Neter, as it was, whatever you call it, however you conceptualize it, symbols that were utilized using the magic of, your hands and your feet, as a conduit and of giving and receiving frequencies and tonations and sounds and actions and activities, all came from, like, pretty much they didn't use a number, or it would be like 2 through 7 or 2 through 6 would be in their complex, because they had concepts that within their reality that comprehended and corresponded with these characteristics. They didn't really have a one concept until they understood other people. You had like people like what we now know as the Middle Eastern people, or Arabics, or the Red Sea in the Bible, or the Red people. They had the concept of 1 through 8, or 1 through 8, and then eventually they picked up the 9. Concept, but who we now call the Arabics, or the Middle Eastern people, or whatever you may call, or the Red Sea. Eventually, they originally had the 9 concept, or sequence, but they only had. But then once, wars happened, genetic alterations and mixtures happened. They lost that, and that became something that you only learn through the mysticism. The Caucasoids actually picked up the number 9 through the concept that they had of the 9 sisters, which was originally the 9 black women who came with the occult side of spirituality, educated them and stimulated the men through sex magic, and educated the women with knowledge of self, so they could continue on the craft of sex magic and sexual alchemy with their masculine beings. Now, what happened when you get into deep, I don't like to say Africa, but fuck it, we're not gonna complicate this shit. When you get deep into the southern African region, that's when you get into beings that had the concept of zero. And over here, what we call natives, or the ancestrals of the natives, which may you call the Olmecs or the All Family or the All Maraka or Almirika or the Mexica or what else do they call? Whatever, you understand what I'm talking about. But they had the concept of zero also. But what happened was beings got numbers and started counting, because keep in mind, zero is not a number, because zero represents nothingness. Quantum physics is itself the science of illumination. Quantum physics is the science of illumination, because the root word of quantum is qua. Qua deals with quad, which deals with 4, square. That's why square has the qua inside in square. So quantum physics, quad deals with 4, the squaring of being. So the squaring of being came from the concept of duality, because they felt like something existed. I mean, well, they had a concept that there's always something that existed. Something always existed. That somethingness, they never had a real true concept of what it was until they came into deep South Africa, and then they had a concept of nothingness. So this is where you get the Arabic word la, L-A-H or L-A, where they be like alat. Alat was the Allah, the nothingness, or the perfect non-existent. That which is perfect because it doesn't exist. That's what Alat is, and that was feminine energy, according to the ancient Arabic or Arabia. So when you get into when you get into quantum physics, what quantum physics talks about and what quantum physics is about, quantum physics is the science of somethingness, finding the root somethingness that all somethingness came from. But when you deal with these occult with your dark side, and you tap into your dark side, the side that is above and transcending light codes and illumination, you understand that the source of somethingness is nothingness. The source of light is darkness, and that darkness is that primordial waters, that nothingness that just was a complete potentiality. So that being said, when you get into quantum physics can never be complete. And originally, the original name of quantum physics was metaphysics. But I forgot who said. I believe it was Bobby Hemmett, and it was a few other people, scholars. But and I read it myself before I seen them say it. But you study a lot of ancient Caucasoid cultures and books and religious shit. They say they actually tell you that before, like in the original times when they was really heavy into alchemy and shit like that, everything was metaphysics. As scientists became more predominant in dealing with predominantly physical existence and physical aspects of being, then they changed the name of metaphysics to quantum physics. And so quantum physics is actually like the legal scientific terminology for metaphysics. That being said, when you get into true deep metaphysics and what metaphysics really is, and what occult science really is, and what the dark side and the dark energy really is, that's everything that has been titled religiously as lawlessness and and chaos. Scientifically, it was called chaos. Religiously, it was called the lawlessness, or the lawless one, or the lawless state, and publicly or generally, it was called the state of chaos, or what the fuck? I forgot what it was. That shit don't even matter in my reality anymore. So I'm trying to find the words that I used to be engaged with in those frequencies, but Sometimes you lose that shit, which is a good thing. But what I want to get to is that quantum physics itself is incomplete because it deals with how somethingness was, there was some original somethingness that was all, and that original somethingness that was all exploded, the Big Bang Theory shit, into all of this other somethingness, the multiplicity of the somethingness. And this is where you get the whole, and this is why I say that the concept of duality is an illusion. So with the concept of duality as an illusion, then the universal law of duality that itself is an illusion. And if you get into, things are sustained and created and perpetuated based off universal laws in this universe, then that means that the construct that you consider the universal laws that uphold this artificial matrix is itself is an illusion. The laws themselves are illusionary or light codes, which can be altered and have been altered several times and many times. And this is why you have people that are out here talking about time lapses and time cannot collapse, space cannot collapse, energy cannot. I mean, none of this can happen unless the laws in which governs the universe themselves are beginning to collapse or disintegrate or become obsolete, and that's what's happening. Because as I said before, when light doesn't go to darkness, light can't go to darkness because darkness is infinite and eternal and is the source of light. So light goes to darkness and light becomes dark. Darkness can come to light and be illuminated. You can be illuminated with darkness. You can't be dark. I'm not gonna say dark light because dark light is the illumination of darkness. Also, is illuminated darkness. Or the energy that is emitted from the illuminated darkness. And that's where all other light comes from, the energy that is emitted from illuminated darkness. That being said, quantum physics deals with something that's created something, so that original somethingness and that original somethingness and is the one, and the all other somethingness is the two, the secondness. This is the concept of duality, but when you get into true, what you now call metaphysics, you would comprehend that when what they call two, or the duality, or the dual principle that eventually created, joined back with the one to create three, then you would understand that the three was always existing the moment that one existed. This is why I'm speaking on 013 concept. Or the 013 frequency, because that's actually the true divine count of creative force of will is 013. That being said, storm coming. Yeah, that being said, there's a storm coming. But and this storm of truth, this storm of reality, this storm of I am the Black One, Magic Savage. That being said, when the nothingness existed, think about this now as zero is not a number. Zero is nothingness. You can't comprehend nothingness because you always conceptualize somethingness. Even when you try to think of what nothingness is, there is something that you are thinking of. That nothing, the true nothingness or void or darkness or perfect darkness that existed, is not something that you can comprehend in thought. It's not something you can perceive in thought. You can feel it, you can sense it, you can allude to it, but that alluding to that is an illusion also of what it really is and truly is in its own essence, within its own self. You cannot comprehend that as nothing. You can only be it, you can only know it and be it and feel it, but you cannot think it, and you cannot perceive it or conceive it or explain it. So even what I'm saying to explain this concept for you to embody and embrace and enunciate out of your own self itself it's an illusion, but it's pretty much like an illusion that is better than an illusion that you was already rocking with. So think about this: zero existed. There was nothingness existing. That's what you would consider zero, or the zero in your binary code. When one existed, how did that one become two? That one became two by going back into the nothingness and drawing more energy out, enough energy so that it was so powerful that one, whatever that one original being was that manifested that consciousness, it went back into the nothingness, or experienced or conjoined or utilized something which we would call sexual alchemy, with the zeroness, that back into nothingness, and manifested something else that was because it pretty much embodies so much power that one vessel that existed would not be able to contain all of the power, or that it channeled from that nothingness, and it manifested another something that was it that and that other somethingness that manifested with the somethingness that existed prior to that as already real, already true, already having a balance, or setting the tone for all other manifestations, or all other things that came out of that nothingness. The original one that came out was the trendsetter. So that being said, there was always that zero, the one, and potentiality for another. That was three. That's three. 0, 1, potentiality for another. That was 3. But when you're trying to count mystically, magically, you would say there's 0, there's 1, and there's 2. When was there 2? There was 2 when there was 1. So this is where the concept of within myself I had the power of multiplicity, the abilities of multiplicity, or to regenerate, or to recreate, or to remanifest, or to be born again. Because in that 1 there is 2. There is the 0 and the 1. That is when your concept of 2 truly existed. But even in that concept of 2, 3 was always part of itself. Even when the first 1 was created, 3 was automatically existing. There was no necessity for 2 to join 1, because 3 automatically existed, because 3 represents potentiality. You see it. That's the numerologically how it's represented. Symbolically, how it is represented is with the triangle. That represents this whole thing that I'm speaking of right now. This is what I'm speaking of is called. I have what I call zero physics, first nature, zero physics, where the concept of duality never. If anything, the concept of duality existed in nothingness, but that concept is something that what you would call, when you really get into numerology, they would say, well, all numbers truly exist because no numbers really exist. And this is the whole point of what the fuck I'm talking about. For you to get truly into yourself and know yourself, you have to escape the universal laws. You have to evade the concept of karma. Karma deals with the recycling, the reanimating, reprocessing, or going through something again and again. And the feminine energy allowing herself to be the porter. That's the Ma in karma. The Ra is the illumination, the light code. The Ka deals with the spirit, or the energy moving through light code frequencies. That's karma. So what you have to do is really truly get out of the illusion of duality. Get out of the mind trick, the mind fuck of duality, and drop in the concept of duality. Now, this is why I say duality is a masculine energy, because people speak of, well, what is the when feminine energy was first, what came out of feminine energy? Most people will say, well, you got polarity, was beginning to manifest magnetism and all this stuff, and then you got the duality principle. She manifested the masculine energy. The masculine energy represented her duality and all that. We didn't have a concept of duality in ancient times. We had a concept of reciprocity. So reciprocity is what her reciprocal is, what really manifested. And if you understand mathematically or mythologically what reciprocity is or what reciprocals is, because math and mythology are the same thing. It's either mathology and mythology are two different ways of explaining the same thing. So when you speak in math, you got to speak mathematically the same way you would speak mythologically. So when you got the whole science of where masculine energy manifested out of feminine energy, that was her reciprocal. It was still a oneness there. It was still superfluous nothingness. with the original feminine energy and masculine energy. There was still superfluid, and out of that, that's what the child came out of, from them two beings becoming one, or asserting one, or going through the ritual or ceremony of proving and being one, and knowing their oneness. A third came out, which was what you consider to be the child. This is the concept of the triangle, or the Holy Trinity, which is which ultimately, with the eye in the center of the triangle, it represents oneness. The oneness of the Trinity, of the Holy Trinity, the holistic three. The holistic three is 0, 1, 3, because it's 0 and 1 that come together to make the third, not the 2. Because the 2 was what you are calling 2 was actually still 1. And even what you call, and even what the 0, 1, 1 come together, it makes the third, or they are themselves 3, is still oneness. So 0, 1, 3 are still the same, just like black, black, clear, and white. That's what 0, 1, 3 is: black, clear, white. They're still one. They black and white are the same thing. Clear is the same thing as black and white. This is 0, 1, 3. This is zero physics. This is when you speak in zero physics instead of quantum physics, because quantum physics will always seek the quad, the squaring, the 4. This is what I'm speaking on, is before the squaring. This is truth, reality, and being and knowing before the perfection of creative force of will, the systemization of creative force of will into creative multiplicities. So this is what I'm speaking on, and and how you can manifest your own and activate your own magic and tune in and tap in. Peace to the goddess. She just sent me a message too while I was on here. But and 2 of them actually that I've been working with and discussing these things with. And obviously, you just had this conversation, last shadow. But when you get into this concept, this is where I want to get into explaining zero physics, because zero physics deal with what I call your first nature, or your first being, or the original family, which is the family of all, the family of Om. This is why we say home. Inside the word home, we have Om, which deals with success and prosperity, and Om, which deals with creative force of will, and at the end of home, the silent E, which deals with perfection, squaring, or right energy, or angles of light codes. So that's why your home is your comfort zone. Your home is where where you deal with your dowsing, and where you have attention and you feel safe and protected, and you feel at peace, and you're supposed to feel one with your family unit, your uno, ta, your family unit, because you are supposed to have a concept of oneness. And this is what I tell you there, and this goes back into what I've been speaking on, dealing with there is no higher self or lower self. There is only the one self. And so that's why you got to really get out of the concept, but you got to transcend your concept of duality, just like you got to transcend your zodiac, because we was activated and born into these light codes, and with these light codes, with certain animalities that we call zodiac or zoo types, or zodiac, or zodai, or zodai, or ka, zodiac, which is your animal circle. The animality in which you would circle yourself have encased your soul anchored to, which is your spirit, your energetic portals of activation, your archetypes, your representations, your manifestations of your energetic force of will, creative force of will. These is your zoo, what they call zoo types. You got to get into your first nature. You got to transcend it. You got to get into the black one that is your soul, that oneness. Just like they say right here, your solar plexus. Your solar plexus is also where when you get into real like sorcery and all that stuff, what the sun magic is. Sun magic deals with free will. Anytime you're working with sun magic, you're working with solar energy, the sun energy. You're dealing with creative force of will, which is also free will. And it is free will that is when you transcend your animality. When you're dealing with those of y'all that deal with the chakra systems, you transcend your animality, your physical creative force of will or creative potential, and the next step is free will, because you have freed yourself from your animality. You have stepped into your solar plexus, your sun energy, your correspondence with the sun does also. It emits free energy. So now you are beginning to process, those of y'all that deal with the chakra systems, you are beginning the process of emitting free energy. Then when you get through the other steps of it, it's about now that you have emitted free energy, that's pretty much like you sent the fishing lines out. Now can you continue to now draw in that free energy going through the circle of life? After it has been through the light codes and the circle of life. This is what Zodiac is really truly about. This is what the symbol of the circle is truly about. But when you deal with quantum physics, you deal with the squaring, because what is squared? When it's squared in light codes, you have two things, two beings. Automatically, these two beings have like they say, these are light codes. So every light, everything in the concept of duality, everything has an opposite. So when you have two more that are unseen. And this is the square. This is what quantum physics is, and what they're doing scientifically is trying to find the unseen or the unstable and build out of it and around it. And to get deeper into the I am and get deeper into the darkness and channeling energy from the darkness of utilizing the dualities that is unseen, or the two that is unseen. So these two beings are always dueling with each other, or getting close to each other, or away from each other. And while they're doing this ebbing and flowing process, because one of the universal laws is the law of rhythm also. The law of rhythm is the law of ebbing and flowing, or the concept of ebb and flow. Like waves come up on the shore, as the ebb, it goes back, and it is a flow, and it's coming, all this type of shit. This is quantum. This is the quantum physics. This is why and if you study, and I think the brother, what's his name, Will Capru on social media, if those of y'all on social media, I'm not sure if he has a YouTube, and he recently, and I was talking to another guy that's about this also, after I seen his video, I'm like, yeah, he was talking about, I believe, I forgot which one. He was talking about the trivium and the quadrivium. He was talking about one of them, but I was telling her, like, yeah, that came from, that's the European conceptualization. This is when they started to have their age of enlightenment. They broke the sciences of knowing and being and down into the trivium and the quadrivium. So, and that's pretty much what it is. But the quadrivium deals with the squaring, that whole shit like that. The trivium deals with the true access to the true knowledge, which is, and I believe in the trivium is pretty much it's something, I forgot exactly what it's called, but language. I believe it's in there. Language or etymology or language arts or something like that, I believe. And that deals with the signs, the symbols, the numerology, the codes, and all that stuff. But you got to get into the dark side of numerology, the dark side of alpha, beta, ism, and still like that. Hold on 1 second, because this might get a phone call, so I want to let them know I'm at work still. But this is pretty much what I'm talking about right now. This is why I say that you utilize certain things to activate codes within yourself. So until you change the language up to access the dark side of the trivium and quadrivium, because when you get into the trivium and quadrivium, you're talking about pretty much like this is a square, and this would be the quadrivium. Hold on, let me put it like this. This would be the quadrivium, and you got the triangle. There we go. This is the same thing as building a house, home. You have built a home now. Now that you have connected the trivium and the quadrivium together, then you have built a home. That home deals with that own frequency. This is why they kept the chimney, because it dealt with spirits were able to escape and come in through the chimney. Chimney deals with chiming. Chimes deal with sounds, deal with frequency, deal with tones, but deals with high, what they consider high pitched. High pitch deals with high darkness, because pitch means darkness, pitch means black. So high pitch means high darkness. How do you access the heights or the depths of darkness? And they say through high pitched sounds. This is why who was just talking about it? They got something going on now. Where I just saw it where somebody was talking about they got the Scream Queen contest for horror films. Where pretty much it's like who's the best screamer, who can show that they had the most fear or activate the fear frequency through screaming, and it's usually by blonde women. I think it was Dr. Boyce Watkins that was talking about it. I'm not sure. But that's the frequency that it deals with, and it deals with screaming, deals with activating your highest animality. Because when you get into true sorcery and stuff like that, one of the things that you utilize to get into your animal totem or access your animal totem is making whatever noise comes out of yourself naturally, whether it's a holler, a scream, some type of sound. It could be anything, like how we niggas on the block be like ski. Shit like that. That may be your animality, how you access your animality. And you hear that sound and it activates something inside of you. But what they do with this whole Scream Queen contest or shit like that is that when you access sounds that represent your animality, you become fearful. Or if you do it in public, then people start to look at you like you're strange, you're weird, there's something wrong with you, or that's a sound of alert. And you might even get the police pulled up on you and say, well, what's wrong? Why are you disturbing the peace? Because you can't just have niggas out here just activating their fucking spiritual dark side animality, utilizing their physical animality from their light codes, which is that deep sound, the deep sound of your own soul. What sound can you make when you just get pissed off, or you just get mad, or you just make that sound as loud as possible from the depths of your solar plexus, from your animality. You just feel it all come up out of here with that sound. That's what they try to deactivate. You know what I mean? So they make it normal for us to not hear or make loud sounds unless there's something to be feared or some type of danger going on. And so naturally, spiritually, you would create this reality inside your own psychological complex. That anytime I make any loud sounds or anything, I gotta check to see if anybody heard me or did something. Is anything around? Now I'm starting to get paranoid because I'm starting to feel like some spirits or some energy is around. Or somebody's watching me now because I've just made all this noise or all this sound, not noise. But this is what I want to get into with this concept of the 013. You got to get back in tune with what I call your first nature, your all frequency, your all family frequency, your all nature, or your awesomeness, or your all love, or your the only love is unconditional love. The only true love is unconditional love. Just for those of y'all that do not know, there is no love besides unconditional love. Everything else is an illusion. But oh yeah, for those of y'all that's doing dream work, or y'all starting to have a lot of vivid dreams now, which I'm guessing a lot of us are having a lot of vivid dreams that you remember very detailed. If you meet what you would consider scary beings or monsters or demonic forces or demonic beings or awkward situations that make you feel like you're trapped, remember the cheat code to access, because we going through like I said in my last video, we're preparing for the contest of champions. We are in the contest of champions, making preparations for the next trials. So right now you're being tested and observed by the watchers. This is where this 2020 frequency is coming in at. So, and it deals with the language of yourself, within yourself, your body language. Now, I mean, you speaking to other people is not really, it's more so like you can speak to other people, but you're truly speaking to yourself, because you're creating, and you can feel the frequencies and tones within yourself. You're communicating, connecting with your genetic, your biochemistry, your genetic, biogenetics, all that type of stuff. You're creating with your mind. You're communicating with your soul. I mean, your soul, your spirits. You know what I mean? And creating your own religion with the way that you speak and the language that you use and how you utilize that language. So, I mean, make sure you try to use language less for fuck shit and real shit. Unless it's sexual alchemy, then you can be on your fuck shit. But, we got to get into that tune. So get into your zero physics. And that's like I told people, this is the energy that I've been dealing with for years now, is as an archetype has been what I call the black one. But it got to the point where now I understand that I've been so deep into myself and into my darkness that I now embody and channel the black one archetype. So the black one is now no longer an archetype. It is part of my I am, my being. It is my soul representation, the black one. It is my illuminated representation of the black one is the magic savage, rule breaker violator. But about that work though. So this is and you can actually channel this for your own self. There is your own soul representation. How is your soul being represented? You can't represent darkness with light. There has to be a transitional period, which you call polarity, because these are the universal laws that we have been created under and created by. But you can transcend these things, but you can't transcend these things with spirituality. You cannot transcend these things with religion. You can only transcend these things with sovereign soulism. So sovereign soulism is when you get into your first nature. Sovereign soulism is when you get into opening your first eye, not the third eye, or not the second eye that you're calling your third eye, because these are your third and fourth eyes. These were last. This was first. This was second. And this is the concept of those of y'all that understand the lotus, or that Kamehameha. You lotused out from here. This is why you got the legal system that deals with the legs, the bottom feeders, the legal system, the legs, from that lotus, from that dark seed, that black seed, part of self. This is what you got to get into, and you got to start to speak to yourself. I mean, like I say now, I say this a lot, and a lot of people that have been talking to me understand that. I mean, know that have heard me say that. I always be like, yo, talk to me nice. I be in the mirror saying that shit. That's me activating. I mean, the language that I speak, the words that I use, activating them and utilizing them for what I choose and what I desire, not what somebody has told me. Like, I am black. I am illegally black. I'm not black according to the legal system. I'm not black according to how the legal system has defined black. I am illegally black, unlawfully black, but originally black, first nature black. I am truly living blackness. I am the truly living black nest. This is how you got to talk to yourself, and talk to yourself nicely. Not nicely, but good. But I say talk to me nice because that's that catchy phrase. Talk to me nice. But that's how it is. That's how you got to channel and activate your own self, is speaking a true divine language, even with this English language, because this English language is an angelic language, because it is languages of all occult and spiritual cultures combined into one, and they just took out of it what they felt like they wanted to utilize, or how, as told us what the etymology and what the meaning was according to some Indo-European concept. You gotta step into your darkness with that. And the Indo-European etymology is the illuminated etymology of that, because if you change the frequencies and you change the codes up and you change the meanings and you change stuff like that, yeah, Indo-European is the source of all languages and all that type shit. Or Indo-African and all that type shit. But if you get into the darkness of your side, you understand that the source of all language is my own soul. I am the source of all language. I have created these things. I have said these things. And this is where you get into occult shit where they say the English language always existed. It just didn't get released until, the special edition of fuck shit. But let me see what time it is. 10:45. All right, I got 15 for y'all. But this is where you got. This is why I say zero physics, because zero physics deals with synchronicity with that blackness. Zero physics deals with synchronicity with that original, that first nature that was created, first physicality, physical form, physical being, the first being that was moving as a dancer of physics. Creating the construct of that we now call physics in this dimension, which is, or in all what you now call other dimensions. But you got to get into a state of oneness with yourself, where there, like I said, for you to really truly activate zero physics, you got to activate oneness. You got to be within the light of oneness. There is no God without me. There is no devil without me. There is no truth without me. There is no reality without me. There is no facts without me. There is no you without me. From the perception, from the standpoint of my soul and what I am and who I am, I would not know these things if I did not have a being that is I am to know these things. So there is no things without me. Nothing exists without me existing. You gotta be that. You gotta be that confident, that cocky, that assured in yourself, and that holistic within your own being. You gotta be that complete and that impeccable. That awesome, that fantastic, that magnificent. You got every divine attribute you could think of. You have to be that. You have to know that you are that, and that you would not perceive anything outside of that, outside of your I am, if you was not what you was. So that's why so for you to see things holistically and completely and properly and beyond the illumination or the illusions or illusions, which are still illusions, for you to see things for what they really are and know them and be them, because the only way to know is to be. You cannot know a thing unless you be a thing. Holistically, you can know. You can say you possess information of something by observing. I mean, because it has been within somethingness, and you have seen the formations of it, or the manifestations of it, or the effects of it. So you can possess information of it, but you cannot know a thing unless you be that thing. For you to be that thing, you have to become one with that thing and know that thing, and say that, okay, I know what it is because I have that inside of me. There is a correspondence of that within me. That's the only way I can perceive a thing, is because there is a correspondence of that thing within me. So you got to get back to your first nature. You got to get back to the first tones and frequencies of being your original home, that mothership. Every man must carry his cross, that X chromosome mothership. That X chromosome is the mothership within. Every man must carry his cross. Bury your cross. Be naked on your cross. Be true. Allow your masculinity and your feminine energy to become one. Brothers, gods, niggas. Your masculine energy and your feminine energy has to become one without you feeling emasculated. And you have to get it and activate the mothership. And then as we begin to do that work within ourselves, we will then begin to get, because the women, y'all already got that. Y'all got 2X chromosomes, so you got the physical and the spiritual mothership already within you. You already are that vessel. And those are in the dark, and those of y'all that possess the high melanation, you have it connected with the darkness. The deepest connection to the dark side. So when you get the oneness within yourself, then you can start to manifest and activate it and get in tune with the oneness within, with other beings, and create that sexual alchemy to stimulate the oneness with other vessels, other reflections of the mothership, or the masculine energy of the mothership, without feeling like you less than a man because you in tune with your feminine. Being in tune with your feminine side is not being a soft ass nigga. It's not being a bitch nigga. It's not being a sweet nigga. It's about knowing yourself enough. And this is what I'm going to get into more deeper with the next video that I plan on doing, which is sexual consciousness. So stay tuned for that. And what else I want to get into? But yeah, code word. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. The cheat code for those of y'all that's doing this dream work or having a lot of dreams right now. My phone keeps slipping. That's why I gotta bend down and do all this extra shit. For those of y'all that's getting into dream work and having a lot of vivid dreams, the cheat code, what you must keep in mind is self-will yourself too, from your creative force of will in the dream world, the dream world scope reality. Fearless conscience being, and utilize fearless conscience being in the activation of your magnificent imagination. Fearless conscious being activating your magnificent imagination within the dream world. That's the cheat code. The watchers are watching. 2020 is coming. This frequency is, and because it's coming, we have activated this frequency of what 2020 represents through visuals. So now that means that we are being watched. We are being seen. Everything will be seen. Everything will be manifested. What's done in the dark is coming to the light. This is why darkness is coming. The mothership is coming and being activated. Her daughters are waking up, and she's coming. And the more of them that wake up, the more abilities come from the darkness, because more darkness is prevalent. And being able to manifest, she is able to manifest here more as more of her vessels are activated and stimulated. So get in tune with that sexual alchemy. Get in tune with your mindset. Get in tune with your soulism, sovereign soulism. Brothers, we can activate that freedom. It's the mothership that's going to give us that sovereign soulism. That's where we're going to really take flight and take off and get out of here into another dimension. That dimension is not anywhere else except here. Because we are soul. There is no multi-dimensionalism. Every dimension is one. The Tower of Babel will fall again. The Dark Tower will fall. It ain't a dark tower for real, though. The Dark Tower truly is illumination. The Illuminati will fall. And when all these barriers that's between what we call dimensions, or what I call the shattered mind of Lucifer, the light bringer, that we exist in now, which is multi-dimensionalism concepts and concepts of duality. The concept of duality, as I told y'all in my video before, is perpetuated in this in our animality through the concepts of duals or dualism, or the necessity, or how they say we at war. The white man is at war with all melanated people on the planet. The black man needs to be ready to go to war with the white man. This is all patriarchal brotherhood shit. These niggas agreed on this shit in ancient times, to perpetuate this war, to keep the women, the feminine energy, in hiding, because feeling like she need to be protected, so she got to stay off the battlefields while the niggas is fighting the war the whole time. Niggas is sitting in a tent somewhere on the battlefield, drinking and talking and discussing war strategies and tactics for secret occult lodges and shit like that, discussing how to continue to work to unify and build this world, these light codes and this illumination. Don't get it fucked up. It ain't really no war. When you get out and we get to the concept of it, well, if you're gonna be if it's anything that you need to be at war with, it's dealing with this patriarch, because niggas fucked this up. We shattered the ball, the crystal ball. We the ones that played the game. We the ones that created the game, played the game. Like I said, we motherfucking stole her crown off her head. Told her that this nigga over here took that shit. She got up like, nigga, we're going to get that shit. Yeah, let's go get your crown. Whole time she walking, she got up off her throne to go with you to go do battle and get her shit back, working her magic while you did the physical warfare. Nigga, another nigga was hiding that didn't go to war. The bitch nigga went and sat on the throne. Took that shit over. You got her on the battle, then you took her from the battlefield and told her to go into hiding. Let us handle this shit. Let the men do it. We got King Kong this shit. Archetype activate. Weak woman activate. Y'all play the game on her. We not really at war with the white man. White man at war with his motherfucking self. This nigga he got to keep asserting this artificial reality, this artificial intelligence. Got to keep on being recreated and repackaged and prepackaged and reasserted, and got to keep on asserting authority and all, because that shit naturally disappears. It naturally dissipates and disintegrates because it's so artificial. Just like Mother Nature naturally breaks down everything that is harmful and destructive to her earth plane. She naturally has a process to break shit down, and any process that she doesn't have to break shit down, she eventually creates a process to break shit down and destroy shit and disintegrate shit back into her nature and put it back in its proper place. So the artificial construct, the artificial reality is going to destroy and fall. It's going to collapse on its own because it's not natural. And the minute that there's not enough of us reasserting that reality and that artificial fuck shit with these motherfuckers, it's going to fall anyway. Because they need the darkness in order to continue the illusion. They need the power that the darkness has to continue to be siphoned to them and ciphered to them and motherfucking broken down and spoon-fed to them through the melanated construct. This is what I'm telling y'all. That's why the concept of we at war is a duel. We always bat on the battlefield and all that shit. No, your greatest adversary is yourself. Right now, your brain is at war with your body. Your body is at war with your brain, or for your brain. Your brain is at war with your mind. Your mind is at war with your spirit. Your spirit's at war with your soul. Everybody going, and you calling it spiritual warfare, and war with this, war with the system, and war with the white man. We ain't at war with shit. This shit gonna collapse any motherfucking way. We at war with our motherfucking selves and with our true knowing and being holistically on this earth plane. Because we so fearful of everything. This is why I said get into. We got to get back in tune with not quantum physics, because quantum physics is really truly a theory. It's a theory. Quantum physics. If you really look at what quantum physics is, how it originated, all that shit. Quantum physics is theoretical science of theoretical science of creation, of existence. That's what quantum physics is. Theoretical sciences, and how based on the rationale that has been agreed upon, what they feel like is a ration of reality that makes sense enough. It makes enough sense for us to act on and live on it, and make people move according to this, and we can change the infrastructure and move and get deeper into creation or more deep into knowing some shit and activating some shit based off of that within the general population or the general reality that we are living in organically. So we're going to say that this is true. So as theoretical science is based off, it's like saying like based on calculations, the earth is motherfucking 2 million pounds. And because the earth is 2 million pounds, and we believe that the sun is 1 million motherfucking degrees, and that it is actually 30 million pounds and shit like that. So if this is true and that is true, then that means that the stars are this hot and this far away, and like all theoretical science. That's like that carbon-14 bullshit. All that shit is motherfucking theories of motherfucking masculine patriarchal supremacist conspirators. And I know that I talk shit about patriarchy, but like I said, within myself, I am in this vessel, nigga. I'm a patriarch. I'm a righteous patriarch in this vessel. But I'm against the patriarchal supremacy, because I know that my true heaven is going to come through the activation of these divine women and these divine sisters, this divine sisterhood, the complete divine. They are our connection. They are divine to the dark side. This is why masculine patriarchs have agreed on controlling and ruling over them. So let's get back into zero physics. And when you understand zero physics, and zero is not a number, zero is not a code, zero is not a part of the binary code. The binary code deals with bias and duality. So the binary code is not 0, 1, it is 2, it is 1, 2, or 2, 1. That's the true binary codes, but they just utilize zero because, they can type that shit in a computer and motherfucking the symbols come up, and that's what it is. But when you deal with energetically what the binary code is 2. 2, 2, 2, 2. Everything is motherfucking 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. With a little bit of 1 every now and then. Because the binary code deals with duality, deals with twoism. Deals with everything must have an opposite. Why can't everything be one? Why does everything have to have an opposite? There is no opposite to me. There is no opposite to the black one. I am one. There is nothing that has been created or has ever been created or has ever existed that can oppose or destroy the black one. There is no duality. There is no, when you understand that and you start to comprehend universal laws, universal laws, universal laws, you and I verse all. When you start to comprehend that and these different illusions of multiverses and stuff like that, then you start, which is the multiplicity of oneness, the regeneration and of the one, the source, that one, that whatever you want to call it, that I am, that soul. This is why I say sovereign soulism is the self-ruling soul. The soul, the self that makes all its own rules for its own existence and evolves and grows as it chooses to exist within the process of this organic reality or physics. But what are we perpetuating? If we are talking about balances, because there's also everything that exists that is not the same as far as the organic manifestation were created from imbalances of zero nature, of first nature. A balance was changed inside of that original being what you may call genetic coding or light coding, and created something else, but with that as the root infrastructure. So we got to get back into zero nature, or first nature, or the creative force of will, or the free will, the sovereign soul. And you got the black one. You got to activate that within yourself like it's a motherfucking superhero. Everything dark, every shadow, everything black, everything that has any type of melanation in it is correspondent with the black one. So I can manifest through all of this shit. And black is white and clear, and I can manifest through everything black, white, or clear, which is, it's nothing that I cannot manifest through. I cannot be. It's nothing that I cannot get in tune with and have and find a correspondence within myself because I perceive it. So there's something in myself that is this table. There is something in myself that is this plastic and the water and this shape and this color. This is clarity. There is something in myself that is clear. This is why I'm able to perceive this clarity and see through this. There is something inside of myself that I can perceive through things, that other things that is deeper within or extended beyond. That's all I want to give y'all. It's time for me to get home. I got a 10-mile bike ride to get home. You know what I mean? Much love to y'all. As educiation, keep your first eye open. And be true to self. Carry your cross. Make sure y'all share this video. Yeah, share, like, and all that shit. I'm on YouTube with this shit now, so y'all need to share, like my shit, all that shit. You gotta do everything. You gotta uplift this channel. There's a few other channels that I'm gonna promote. Cause y'all know I always do my promotions and shit with everybody. Ain't no competition. Everybody, if it's either you are one mind, be of one mind, you one with me, or you exist in running around in illusion. You know what I mean? So it's other people I'm gonna be promoting and all that type of shit. Much love to y'all. Like I said, educiate. Bring out of yourself what is inside of yourself. This is what I do. I do not teach. I educiate. I not educate. I educiate.